Hello and welcome to 30 Design and Content Secrets to Skyrocket Your Blog. I'm Carol Tice. I'm here with Judy Dunn, and I'm going to introduce Judy to you. Judy is a blogging coach, consultant, and content marketing specialist, and the author of the Guide to Showing Up Online. You can subscribe to her blog, Cat's Eye Writer, to find out how to attract more online visitors with compelling copy, a true voice, and smart social media strategies. And her blog was recently chosen one of the top 10 blogs for writers on Right to Done.
Thanks, Carol. And now I'd like to introduce Carol Tice. Carol has written for Entrepreneur, Seattle Times, Seattle Magazine, allbusiness.com, and BNet, among others. She is the anchor blogger for Entrepreneur Magazine's Daily Dose. She has guested on Copy Blogger, DIY Themes, and many more, and she writes the Make a Living Writing blog. She's also a writing business mentor. Her blog was also recently chosen one of the top 10 blogs for writers.
And before we get started, I have some introductory housekeeping notes and comments. The first thing I want to say is that my blog and Judy's blog didn't start out at the level they are today. Not very long ago, they started from scratch and grew to be what they are now, successful platforms that sell our products and bring us clients. If you looked at my blog when it first started, it was dark green, it didn't have any photos, it had little tiny type, and you'll see my blog later and see that it looks very different today. So we all go through this process of just gradually improving our blogs and making them better. If you're blogging, you know that it's hard work writing all those posts, and it's frustrating if you do all that work and nobody visits, nobody comments, and nobody subscribes. You may have that nagging sense that there are ways to make your blog better, or the top bloggers are doing something different on their blog that most bloggers aren't, but you're not sure exactly what. And in this webinar, we're going to break down those elements and show you what they're doing. We're going to break it down into design, usability, and content, and then we're going to show you specific changes you can make that will immediately turn your blog into a more useful tool for attracting readers, getting comments, and getting subscribers. Before we start, I want to say that we are not here to make you feel bad about your blog. We are here to offer you support in improving it. Give yourself credit for taking the leap, getting your blog started, and being willing to invest time and money in learning how to make it better. I did a free call last week where 75% of the participants had not managed to get their blog up yet. So I think you're all awesome. And one of the first things we're going to do is learn a little bit more about all of your blogging experience. We're going to take a really quick little poll that you hopefully can now see. And if you can just quickly tell me how long you have been blogging. Oh, I see people can see it because they're voting. I think that'll be really useful information for me and Judy to take a look at. People are voting away. Can you all see the results? I'm not sure. Judy, can you see the results?
I cannot, no.
Huh, I'm not sure why that's not showing. Here we go. I think this is going to, no, that's not going to help us. Here, poll in progress. There's our poll. Huh, I thought I was going to be able to share the results, but I will just orally share them with you that 16% of folks say they have not started their blog yet. 37%, the biggest categories, say they have been blogging for between 1 and 6 months. And the next biggest category, 32% say they have been at it 6 months to a year, and 16% have been at it 1 to 2 years. So I'll close that out for us, and we'll go back to our slideshow. I'm going to minimize this window, and I'm going to encourage you not to use the chat feature. If you want to chat, please use the Twitter hashtag 30blogsecrets that you can see there. And when we get to Q&A periods, if you can type questions in the question pane, we're not going to be looking in that chat box, so don't use it if you wanted to ask us questions. But I do like to see people's questions, and then we recognize people and take it from there. We'll have a couple of different points where we'll open up for Q&A. Be sure to stay on until the end of the call because I'll be giving out a free ticket to my next webinar that I'm doing with Ann Wayman of About Freelance Writing, which is Secrets of a Money-Making Blog. So once you learn how to make it look right and your content be awesome, we're going to talk all about how you then use that to make money. And there are other special offers coming at the end of the broadcast also, only for participants. If you don't see your blog in the presentation, it probably just means that you didn't register early, but don't worry, I have pretty much everybody's URLs loaded up into my browsers, and we should be able to take a look at your blog in Q&A. And I really want to strongly advise everyone to pay a lot of attention when we are reviewing everyone else's blogs, because Judy and I really found in looking at the blogs that there are a lot of common mistakes, so you will likely see things that will help your blog from looking at the other blog reviews. And now we are going to start with design. And there's a reason design is first, because really it doesn't matter how awesome your content is. If you don't have great design, people aren't going to stay and read it. And we're going to Judy's tips first.
Thanks, Carol. I'm going to start with the design side, but I just wanted to second what Carol said first. Blogs are always a work in progress. I started mine 3 years ago, and I am still learning new stuff. So these tips that we're giving you are in the spirit of improvement. So let's take a look at the first tip, and the first tip is called Clean, Uncluttered Design. This is all about using your real estate wisely, thinking about the most important things you want your readers to see, read, and do. You should have one right-hand sidebar, which would be the ideal, rather than having a left and a right-hand side. Sidebar to confuse people. We're going to take a look at a couple of blogs, but first of all, I just want to say lose all the widgets that don't really affect your reader and that don't make your reader more interested in your content and what you're really trying to accomplish with your blog. No blinking graphics, please. No loud sounds. No pop-up boxes. None of those evil boxes that, you know, you've seen them. They pop up and they rotate all over the page, and you can't close them because in order to read the blog, you first have to sign up for this or buy this. Don't do that. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple of blogs. The first one is My Winning Year 2011, and this would be. Whoops.
Hang on one sec while I get it up.
Okay.
I think it's going to be right here. Here we are.
There we go. There we go. This is Darla's blog. I'm saying to her as my advice, the header works except, and this is you're writing about health and losing weight. I really wanted to see a picture of the real Darla up there, and I know you're going with a cartoon theme, but and as you see on the right-hand side of Darla's blog, the very first thing you see up in the right, up in the corner on the right, is a search box. And what I guess I'm asking is this the most important thing you want your reader to do when they land on your blog? Do you want them to search for other blog posts of yours, or do you want them to subscribe to your blog so they can be a regular consumer of your content? So I would say the subscribe button needs to be bigger. You need to offer both options of RSS Google Feeder and email delivery, and make that subscribe box huge and in people's face. As we scroll down now below the subscribe box, we see a Google Connect, which I'm not sure should have a place of prominence in your prime real estate. As we go down farther, we see things like the I'll Never Quit Club, the 1 pound of fat, and then you have to scroll way, way, way down to see About Me, which is the most important thing when a blogger lands on your page. They want to see who you are, what your blog is about. So Darla, I would encourage you to elevate that to a position of prominence, and then it goes down through blog archives and a whole bunch of other things, but basically clean, uncluttered design, and the most important stuff first. Okay, we're going to look at Park College 1961 to 1965, which is Barbara McDowell Witt's blog. I would say, first landing on this blog, I would say that the header needs to be simple. You need to have a simple name for your blog, and I would suggest that you have a catchy tagline that goes right below, so when people land on it, they want to know immediately. They don't want to read 4, 5, 6 sentences. They want to know immediately in simple terms or phrase what your blog is about. Okay. Barbara also has the very, very tiny subscribe box, and she doesn't have an RSS option that I can see. I don't know if there's one elsewhere on her blog, but she needs to offer both choices. Make your email sign up bigger. That is the way you develop your list, and that is the way most people want to receive your blog posts. So really focus on email delivery. Then she has some photos down the side of the sidebar that really are taking up some really valuable space. And if we go way, way down past the archives and way down to the bottom, if you can scroll down, there's a fidget, not sure what that is, what other people have said, share it, and then all the way at the bottom we see what we really need to see first. It's about me. It's who is Barbara McDowell-Witt, a little bit of personal stuff about her, and really what the reader will find on her blog. Okay.
Ready to go back?
Yes.
And hit another point here?
Yes.
Let's do it.
Second point, and this really ties into what we were just talking about, pay attention to your header. It is the first thing. Some people won't even go any farther than your header to make a decision whether they want to stay on your blog or not. It's the first thing people see. They need to know the name of your blog. It helps sometimes even to have a photo up there and a tagline that's short and clear. And mine says helping bloggers educate, engage, and entertain. Those are the 3 things. Those are my 3 E's of blogging, and that's what I do as a blogging coach, and that's what I try to help people out with my blog, so they know right away what I'm about. Your blog name and your tagline should tell your visitors instantly what you're about within seconds, because that's all the time you have. Okay, let's look at marybethbraun.com. This is the next blog we're going to look at. And Mary Beth has, what she has at the top is the name of her blog is Mary Beth Braun, but Mary Beth Braun is kind of smaller to the side, and she kind of hits us with a whole bunch of questions at first, and it may not be as appropriate to have rotating questions and learn more in your header. It might be more appropriate to say exactly what you're about, what you're going to help people with on the blog, and really what's in it for the reader to stick around. So a tagline, I think, Mary Beth, would really, really help you, a short tagline to tell readers what your blog is about.
And Judy, if I can break in, one thing we didn't put into our official 30 tips, this is going to be a little extra bonus tip, is to think about color and use of color on your blog. And I wanted to stop and talk about Mary Beth's real quick, because blue, if you've ever watched The Sixth Sense or a CSI episode, you know, is the color of fear. When something bad's about to happen in a movie, often everything turns blue. So I would be down on using this much blue on a blog where it's just this whole wash of blue and gray.
That's a great point. And Carol, one that I didn't even realize. So see, all bloggers are always learning. Okay, we're going to look at mothering4.com, which is Jerry Schaffer. I hope I'm pronouncing your last name right. Jerry, your header needs to be bigger, and we've talked about this before. You really need that Mothering 4 to really pop out at people so it's the first thing they see, and I guess she's used a lot of blue too, right, Carol?
Yeah, yeah.
Because your header is your calling card, it's your sign, it's what people are going to know that what you're about. I see one thing with your tagline, Jerry, I see is that I can hardly read it here. I don't know the color of the font. And then what I see when I really squint is stay-at-home mom of 4 blogs. And I kind of expected, let's see, I've lost my screen here. Okay. I've kind of expected that you were a mother of 4 children, which is what I immediately thought of when mothering 4, that you were mothering 4 kids. So you might look at your name and your tagline and just rethink that a little bit. And so people get a sense right away exactly what your blog is about. Okay. All right. Next tip. Don't confuse your readers. Don't give them too many choices. Don't ask them when they first land on your blog to do too many things. you're going to, the clutter of the design is going to leave them so confused that they'll end up not taking any action. So if you want them to subscribe to your blog, or you really want a call to action that means you're going to get more readers, more comments, and more potential customers, don't clutter it up and don't ask them to do too many things. Emphasize the most one important thing. And I tell my blog coaching clients, if you had one thing you want your reader to do when they land on your blog, what is that? And let's really focus on that. We're going to look at Clara's Closets. I'll just say that. That is Sally Ann's blog. And Sally Ann, what I will say is you got a lot of cool color stuff going on, and I've never told a blog coaching client before that maybe their header is a little bit too big, because usually it's the opposite problem, it's too small. But you might consider making your header move up a little bit so we can see more of the content when people land on the page. So the main thing I wanted to say is that Sally Ann has a whole lot of stuff going on in her sidebar, and you really, like I said, need to think about what's the most important thing you want your reader to do. We start with a Wibbia widget at the top, and it just keeps scrolling down with free giveaways and donations, and then we see a very tiny, under Wibbia widget, we see a tiny subscribe button, which is, I almost missed it when I looked on the sidebar. So you're going to probably, I think, Carol, it was even farther up under the Wibbia widget, the email subscription.
Let's take a look here. Oh, right.
It's tiny, and even with glasses on, I can't really read. And then what you have to do is you have to hover over it, as Carol did, and then you can see all the choices to subscribe. People aren't going to do that. They aren't going to go to that much work. If they don't see a great big huge, here, get free email blog post from me and put in your name, they'll go that far. But they're not going to search in a drop-down menu to try to figure out how to subscribe to your blog. Okay, so basically there's just a lot of clutter in the sidebar, and me as a reader, I'm really confused about what you want me to do. Okay.
All right.
Now we're going on to the next tip. And this is all about creating barriers that discourage people from leaving a comment, from being involved and being engaged on your blog. Every new step that you make them take to leave a comment, you will lose a percentage of people every time you do that. So CAPTCHA is the first thing. And that CAPTCHA, if you don't know what it is, it's copying those squiggly, warped letters and numbers. Sometimes I have to recopy them 2 and 3 times before I get them right, and Facebook is notorious for this. If you make people do that before they leave a comment, you're going to lose a whole lot of commenters. The purpose is to prevent spam with CAPTCHA, but you do lose a lot of commenters when you do that. If you have a good spam filtering system, you should not be needing to use CAPTCHA. Don't require them to register. Don't require them to do any other things that would be barriers to commenting on your blog. Okay, the next tip is to use tags and categories. People get confused about this. Tags and categories are basically your readers' guideposts so that they can figure out what your blog is about and what topics you write about. Categories are like chapter headings in a book. Tags are like the book index, and we're going to look at a few of those. You can use a tag cloud, and readers can see visibly very quickly what your blog is all about. Okay, we're going to look at Olympic hot tubs, and we're going to scroll down and take a look at her categories. You can see the blue bar that says categories, but then you have to do a drop-down menu and press that little arrow, and you can see tons and tons of categories. Number one, I would say, if you can prevent it, don't have your categories in a drop-down menu, because they're just basically hidden. If people don't see the arrow, or they don't want to go to the trouble to press the arrow, they're not going to see what you write about. And then the other thing, I think, with Alice is don't have so many categories. Fold your blog into 4, 5, 6 major categories, and put the blog post within those categories. It's kind of too many categories to wade through. Okay, we're going to take a look at Seattle wedding officiants, and this is a gorgeous, beautiful blog, but again, she has that going on with the categories. Let's see,
I
where were
can't
they?
find them.
We have to go, that's right, we have to go on Elaine's blog at the top, Carol.
Oh, right.
Remember, her blog is within her website. So.
My bad. Here we go.
Okay, okay. So here are her categories. Once again, like Alice, number one, she has way too many categories. And Elaine, you might categorize yours by lodging, wedding venues, food, wedding planning. Maybe have 4 to 6 major categories. There are way too many here. And once again, we have to use a drop-down menu to even see them. People want to see when they land on your page right away what you write about, what the major topics are. Okay. The next tip, use white space headlines and subheads and use them liberally. The advice that I have is that online readers are skimmers and scanners. They don't hang around when they see huge, bulky text of line after line after line, no break for their eyes, no rest, no way to scroll down and get a sense of what your post is all about. If you use bolded subheads, people can skim and scan and they can find the pieces of your post and your content that are most helpful to them. And surrounding your text then with empty space draws attention to your content, so don't be afraid to use those space breaks and use them liberally. We're going to look at pure motivation now. That's Annette's blog. And, oh, that's Color Go-Go. Here we go. Okay, she's got a cute cat photo going on there. But what I want to say to Annette is, well, number one, the photo on your post should be moved up way more up toward the top because photos really engage us. And if we see a headline followed by a really engaging photo like this one, it makes us really curious about what this post is about. But other than that, if you scroll down on Annette's blog, you can see that it is just sentence after sentence. She has some space breaks going on, but no subheads, way too long paragraphs. And she also is doing, I believe, yes, under motivation theory at the top there, she was putting some underlined words, and I think that maybe Annette was meaning those to be her subheads, but she has underlined them. And online readers, whenever you see something underlined, your first thing you want to do is click on it because you think it's a link. And so don't do that because it'll distract your readers and they'll also think there's a link you want them to go to. Okay.
And Judy, did you want to take a look at your blog there, or should we move on?
Yeah, we can move on. I kind of crossed that one out. We're kind of, I think, short on time today. Okay, the next one, make sure that your subscription boxes are easy to find, make them big, and test them to make sure they work. If you have to, sometimes the default system for a blog is to have that little tiny subscription, little rectangular, really hard to see little box for sign up. If you can't do the coding to put a big graphic in, it's worth your while to pay a designer to put a nice big custom subscription sign-up box that just jumps out at people. It's in their face and they can't help but see it, and put it in a prominent place. We're going to jump to my blog now, Cat's Eye Writer, just to show you an example of big, bold, subscribe graphic. Okay, on the side, and I don't know if we can, there we go. On the side, right under the header, is get your free email subscription to Cat's Eye Writer. And you can see it's big, it's surrounded by a box, it has some colored envelopes, it has color in the headline, and it's where your eyes are normally drawn to. That's what I want people to do mostly on my blog. I want them to subscribe so they'll become a regular reader. So there's an example of a graphic. Okay, the last tip that I have is make your social media share buttons big and prominent. And if, let's see, okay, make it easy for readers to find and use your social buttons to share your content with others, whether they share it on Twitter or they share it on LinkedIn. If you send them to connect with you though on LinkedIn or Twitter, just make sure, or Facebook, make sure you're active there. Make sure that the last thing that you said on that social platform was not like 2 months ago. It's really, really important to only put the social buttons for connection, the ones that the ones that you are actually active in. We're going to take a look at My Winning Year again.
Okay, give me a second.
Okay.
Juggling a lot of URLs here. Okay, there it is.
Oh, that's wedding. Okay, there we go. Okay. The thing with Darla is that I don't see any social share buttons. Now, maybe they're somewhere where I wasn't able to see them, but as I searched her blog, I didn't see any way for someone, if they read a really cool post, to think, this is so cool, this content is so great and helpful, I want to share this on Twitter, I'd like to tweet about it. I don't see any buttons for people to do that. The more you can get your posts shared, the more they go viral, the more subscribers you get, just the more popular your blog becomes, and the more you can potentially even get more customers and clients. So Darla, I couldn't see social share buttons on Darla's, and then Margot Robbie.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull that up. I think we're on here. Huh. No.
It's not. No, it's not word gathering.
No. Hang on. I'll get it figured out.
Okay.
Huh. Juggling too many different ones of these.
This was a lot of. These were a lot of blogs to look at.
I know. Go ahead while I look for it.
Okay. Margot, the thing I noticed with yours is that your share button, number one, it was too small, and number two, you have to hover to make the box open up to find the share buttons. And once again, if you make it extra work for people, you're going to lose a lot of them if they don't find an easy way to share.
Oh, I found it.
Now that's word. Oh, that is word. She is.
Yeah, it's Margot Robbie.
I'm confused because the name of the blog is different from. Okay.
Yeah, and we'll be talking about that later.
Okay. The share button. Now I'm trying to remember where her share button was. If we can scroll down.
I don't see one.
All right. That's weird. I saw it somewhere. It was
maybe
small,
it's at the bottom. No.
Hover over it.
This? Is it over here in the corner? No, that's just RSS. Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
Maybe in Q&A, Margot can help us out with that, because I.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, that's not it.
But you can see that you may know where these things are, but as newcomers to the blog, it's hard for us to find them.
I guess the point is that we couldn't find it right now when we were looking for it, Margot, so that's probably the major point. Okay. Okay, those are my design tips.
All right, on to me. My first tip is to coordinate, if you can, your blog name, your tagline, and your URL. When these things are different, they confuse readers, and you should create a tagline that sort of sheds more light on what's going on your blog. And I'm going to look at a couple, or actually, yeah, I want to go right back to word gathering. So we have that dissonance where the URL is Margot Robbie at WordPress.com, but the name of the blog is Word Gathering. And what that means is, in the world of Google, this URL is not giving you any help with having people who are interested in poetry and finding words to find you. And your header, you know, it's pretty tiny here, and your tabs are like on the same level as your header, so that really takes away from your header. So you want to really include this. It's got finding poetry, which is awesome. That's a good tagline that sheds more light on what you're up to there. And then I want to go to one other blog to talk about this, and I'm going to find it. I had them all in order for the beginning, but now that we're moving around, we're going to see different things come up at different times. Darn. Well, I'm gonna move on because I don't see it. Oh wait, I bet this is it. Here we are. It's Leslie's blog, which the URL you can see says I Am Living Healthy, which probably has some good SEO, but then the name of the blog is not I Am Living Healthy, it's Living Lean in the Land of Plenty, and then it has my least favorite tagline in the whole wide world, just another WordPress.com site. Leslie, you are so much more than just another WordPress site, and I want you to go in and edit that and tell us a little bit more about what goes on this blog in that tagline. It's a huge opportunity to do that. So please, please do. All right, my next one, and this takes the whole subscription box thing sort of one step farther, is my theory of subscription boxes is that you want your email subscription box to be a lot bigger than your RSS sign-up form. And that's why I have a giant green email logo and a teeny little RSS logo. You cannot, and here's why. RSS subscribers are useful. They tend to be really into your content and they tend to share it, but you can never sell them anything because you do not know who they are. Excuse me, you don't know who they are. The other thing is RSS users know that little icon. It really doesn't have to be that big. They look for it, they find it. And you should know that the vast majority of human beings do not take things in feeds and do not know what a feed is, and they don't know anything about RSS. The key to this is to create a one-step subscription process that's as simple as possible for people to subscribe to. And I'm actually going to show you something I'm doing on my blog that's sort of, and even beyond this, is like an advanced ninja, whoops, not that. It's sort of an advanced level of doing a subscription box. You'll see that my subscription box doesn't have a place for you to fill in your email. It's just about selling my free report. I'm not even asking you really to sign up yet because studies have shown that you can get a higher subscription rate from a landing page. So what I'm incenting people to do with my big box is to come to my landing page. Oh, it's going to be on Google Analytics, so sorry. But then I have a chance to tell them why they want this report, what they will get in it, and then I'm using something that's known as the von Restorff effect. I'm using a color I don't use very often in my blog to attract people where I want them to go, which is to subscribe. So that is an approach you can take, and I know other people who have a little subscribe box on the top, but then it also has an ad that jumps to a landing page like that to give people more information and get them more excited about your blog before you ask them to subscribe. And here's another one. I wanted to look at age myths because this sign-up box is confusing. It says subscribe by RSS or email, and it's just a text link. A lot of new bloggers have this. It's just not enough. But it's got the RSS sign, and I really don't know what's going to happen. I'm confused by this. So let's just give it a whirl and see what happens. So here's what happens when you click on the link. You get to her feed, and if you're really smart, you see this one tiny line here that says get age myths delivered by email. So basically RSS is way more prominent here than is the email sign-up, and you want the opposite. So that gives you a couple examples of how to do it. So ask for the subscription. Is the other thing. You know, a long time ago I met with a conversion specialist and I said, you know, I just feel like people aren't subscribing, and he said, well, do you ask them? He said, at the end of your posts, right, if you enjoyed this, please subscribe. And that probably doubled the number of subscriptions that I started to get, and just with a live text link so that you have it. And the ideal is to offer something free in exchange for subscribing. You will see your rate of subscriptions just shoot up the minute you offer that. And a couple of sites that I saw, I'm not going to pull them up again, but Mary Beth Bulow, you have coaching, you do workshops, weddingofficiants.com, you must have a great best practices little report you could put together of, you know, how to have a stress-free wedding planning process, and those would greatly build engagement with your audience. And once they subscribe, then you have that chance to market to them any old time. So the next thing I'm going to tell you is a lot of people come to me about their blog and they say, you know, I don't really know what's going on my blog. And if you don't, it's time to spy on your blog and find out. There's two ways to find out. You can use analytical tools to look at your blog and see what readers do when they're on your website. And then you can get rid of things that they do not engage with. And you can also take polls in your blog posts and just flat out ask people, what could I give you more of? What's the most helpful thing on here? But I'm going to show you very quickly. This is my blog, and this is my blog on Google Analytics. It's a simple plugin, I believe, called Google Analytics for WordPress that you install on your WordPress. If you have this format, there's other ways to hook it up to other platforms, and you can see that it is showing me exactly how many people and what % of visitors are clicking on every element in my blog. Crazy Egg provides even more detail, but you can see, as Judy will talk about coming up, that the About page is the second most visited page. You can just see that proved out there, and it tells me how many links are coming. It shows me who clicks on my ad, who clicks on my picture, who clicks on my most popular posts, and which are the most popular of those. This is my tag cloud substitute down here. I've hard-coded my most popular topics as sort of a cross between a categories and a tag cloud. And it tells me that blogging is one of the most popular topics on here, along with freelance writing and earn more from your writing. So you get a lot of information out of this, and then you can change your blog and make it better, make it more responsive to what readers want. Number 13, this is just a pet peeve of mine. I think it makes it very distracting and busy. Don't have too many tabs across the top of your blog. I'm sure you've all had the experience of getting to a blog where there's like 2 rows of tabs going, or 3 rows of them across the top. It's just too confusing. Don't do it. The other thing is you can encourage feedback and people to leave comments and stick around with a couple of tools. I use Comment Love, which you can see the graphic for there. It automatically goes to visitors' own blogs, pulls up the title of their latest blog post, and makes it a live link back to their blog. So basically, commenting on your blog automatically gives them a great link, so they're dying to do it. And the other thing is to keep them reading and getting more engaged with you with a tool like Link Within, which you've probably seen at the bottom of posts where it'll say, you might also enjoy, and then it'll have links to 3 or 5 other articles, other posts on the blog. Great way to keep people engaged and have them really fall in love with your content. And my last one is to carefully consider your ad strategy. Be cautious about putting up ads, particularly above the fold, which you'll see this graphic I have is from the Google AdSense page, and of course they would like you to put the Google ads right up at the top of your blog. But that can really have a spammy feeling and really turn off readers. Consider other strategies for doing this. A Products I Love page. There's a lot of ways to earn. And if you have ads up like that and they are not performing for you and no one's clicking on them, take them down because they can turn people off. We are up to our first Q&A period. I'm going to get our... no, that makes it disappear. Can people see the panel here? I'm hoping. If so, you can start asking some questions, and Judy is going to give away a couple of prizes for people who asked good questions in our registration process. So if you have questions, particularly about design, because we'll get to another session on content. Judy, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure.
It's time to give away some prizes,
okay.
And then we're going to take some more questions from people. And if we haven't looked at your blog yet, put your URL into the question pane, and so we can try and go take a look.
Thanks, Carol. I had 2 door prizes today. One was my guide to showing up online, which sells on my blog for $17, and the other one is a 30-minute Q&A session with me. Ask me any questions you want about your blog. We can call it up and look at it on the screen and just talk for 30 minutes about anything you want to do. So I looked at the responses on the registration forms, and the one that kind of jumped out at me was Madeline, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Kolb. I have selected her as one of the winners of the Door Prize. She wanted to know how to work her topic, which she thinks is something most people don't want to think about. And I believe her website was Age Myths.
Yeah, here it is.
Okay. And the thing I would ask her is, what kind of thinking did she go through when she thought of the topic of her blog, and did she do any kind of a research to find out, even looking at Google, what kinds of things people were wanting to know? The first thing I see on Age Myths is that the word aging, it says the positive realities of growing older, and most of us don't want to even think about growing older. So it may be, in a way, the way you're approaching the blog. It might be, since it's something we don't like to face, it might be more on how ways and strategies on how to stay and look and feel young. I'm not sure about that. But my basic question would be to rethink that topic and even rethink the title of your blog and the content, so that you're really hitting on something that readers can not only that they'll have something that they can relate to. It's things that they can relate to.
Madeline, I've unmuted you if you have anything you want to ask us about your blog. You there, Madeline? Oh, she's on on VoIP, so I don't know if she can talk if she has a headphone. But if you do, feel free to say something, Madeline.
Okay.
Don't know. Don't hear her. Move on.
Madeline, I'll be sending you the details on how to access the guide to showing up online, and thanks for such a thoughtful question. My second door prize goes to Barbara McDowell-Witt. And her question was, does it cheapen my blog if one person consistently is commenting and nobody else? Does it make her site look amateurish? First of all, Barbara, I would have to say we all start with one commenter. We all have to have a first comment on our blog. And but what I would encourage you to do is to go out and find those readers who can most relate to your blog. You can go on classmates.com. Are we getting an echo here?
Barbara, are you on?
I don't know. Can you hear me?
I think Barbara is on. Yeah.
Okay.
You're a little loud. Turn down if you can, Barbara.
Classmates.com.
Okay, yes, let me just give you a little bit more here. And invite, form a group on Facebook. Find those folks who are interested in reading about the history at your time period of when you went to high school and college.
Okay.
Form a LinkedIn group. Start to build momentum for reader interest in your blog. And there are several ways with social media to do that, to get people excited and interested. It is okay to have one commenter, but at the same time, start promoting that blog. Find those readers that most like your content and most want to read it. And like I said, it might be classmates, it might be Facebook group that you would form and have people join that page, and just start to gather your readers. I would encourage you to be proactive about that.
That's a wonderful suggestion, Judy. Thank you.
Thanks, Barbara. I'm going to just answer one quick question, and then we're going to move on. Mary Lee is saying, I don't have a good feeling for how many photos to use per post. Is there a guideline on that? One big one right up at the top is really important. And some folks do like to use sort of a second, smaller photo, maybe halfway down, especially if you're doing a long post. But in general, one's usually good by me. I mean, it depends if I'm talking about products or something and I want to show little pictures of them as I go, or social media buttons or something. I might do a couple other graphics, but usually one will do you and be real good. Let's dive into talking about. Oh, go ahead, Judy.
Okay. I would just say that the longer the post, the more I would encourage you to put more photos. Photos engage and they keep the reader with you and they draw emotional responses, so don't be afraid to use photos. If you see a spot to put an extra one or two throughout your post, readers really enjoy that and it helps them really engage and get through your content better and with more of an emotional attachment to it.
So we are running behind, so we're going to do our best to move through the content secrets and get to more Q&A because I want to leave more time for questions.
Okay, I'm going to go fairly quickly through these tips, and hopefully on the Q&A we can pick up some of your questions. Put your best content first is my first tip for content. Put it first, and we talk about above the fold, and that just means in the newspaper business, if you have a newspaper that's folded, the stuff that's above the fold that's on the top, that's the stuff that's the most important. So that would be your blog header, your post title, your first paragraph, all of that readers should see without having to scroll down, so that you will entice your reader to become engaged in your content. Okay, we were going to look at Annette's pure motivation. Is that
I'm going to find it.
Here? Okay.
Hang on. I think it's over here. Yeah, here we go.
Well, that's age myths, right?
Nope, here we go.
There we go. Okay. All right. Pure motivation. I would just say that, you need a tagline, you need a huge header, you need the stuff that's going to engage people to come a little bit farther up. I would also have, Annette, a short bio box above the fold. You have a nice photo there. Put a little text of bio to tell what you're about, so readers don't have to click through to find out, but they can find out right now. Okay.
And while we're here, I just wanted to show that about page. You can all see that. Don't let this happen.
Okay, this is it. It says Annette, and it says biography. Now, is that biography clickable, Carol, or not?
No, that's
No.
it.
Okay. Okay, so Annette has not finished her about page yet, so I would encourage you to do that. Okay, next tip is, okay, get to the point. It just means setting your reader up for what they're going to get in the first paragraph of your blog post. It must compel the reader to read further and try to build suspense if you can within your first two or three sentences. We're going to look at Color a Go-Go very quickly.
Yeah, these have what we like to call a sort of wind-up lead, where you're going to go a few paragraphs before you sort of get to what you want to tell us.
And Chris Brogan has a good name for that. He calls it throat clearing. He says, get rid of the throat clearing and start really what your post is about right away. So people need strong post titles that tell what it's about, and a couple of sentences to entice us, especially on this blog, on Dee Dee's blog, especially. Okay, we'll go on to the next tip. I was going to say an excerpt or a teaser that will get readers interested. It doesn't have to be the first couple of lines of your blog post, but it can just be a little composite teaser paragraph, a couple sentences to get people interested. Okay, now the next one is to strengthen your about page. Research shows that it's consistently the second most viewed page after the home page. When people become engaged with you and your blog, the first thing they want to know is, who is this blogger? So you're going to tell who you are, why you blog, and what your blog's mission is. That's very important in your about page. And please don't have a little thumbnail photo, a little postage stamp photo. Big, bold photo is very important. We're going to look at Park College, 1961 to 1965.
And there's our teeny photo.
We had to scroll down. We see a very, very small photo of Barbara, and we see this kind of text that's hard to read, and it's in a very thin column. Now, I'm not sure if she has a separate about page or not, but Barbara, readers want to know who you are, what your blog is about. We have to scroll way, way, way down for Barbara for her about page. Now, this is on Blogger, and I don't know if this is a template for an about page on Blogger.
I believe it is, and I find it's one of the worst things about this Blogger platform is these are not very engaging in the way they make you lay them out.
And they kind of force you into the categories that they want you to talk about. You should be talking about from the heart what you're about and what your blog is about. Okay. And the next tip is end each post with a call to action. It doesn't necessarily have to be buy my stuff and go to my product page and purchase this. And in fact, it shouldn't say that always. It's okay to lead people to your services if your content is helping them with a piece of what you do. But ending your post, every post with here's my phone number, call me, that's not going to engage a community of readers. We're going to look at say yes to yourself blog, and that's Melanie's blog.
Hang on. Here you go.
Well, that's the color. There we go. Okay, you've got it. Okay, if we scroll down to the end, and the call to action is normally at the end of a blog post, if we go to the end of this post here, we're seeing something that says, are you ready? Give me a call. Send me an email. And so it looks like consistently when I looked at Melanie's blog post, it's kind of what it said at the end of each one. We need to engage our readers first and lead them into a sales funnel gently and then sell to them. So you don't write a blog post and at the end of every one, call me, you know, you can hire me to do whatever. So don't do that. Engage first and then sell. And I think that Carol is having a webinar coming up, something about that.
You bet.
Okay, 20. Post consistently. I don't have a sample for this, but even if it's just once or twice a month, post on the same day of the week and the same time of day. You're doing two things, folks. You're training Google, which sends their spiders and their bots or whatever they're called, they send them out. If Google figures out that you post every Tuesday and they come back every Tuesday for fresh content and they're going to index it and you're going to get in the Google rankings and listings, and then they come back the next Tuesday and there's no post, and they come back the next Tuesday and there's no post, Google's going to go away. They do, in fact, get trained to visit your site when they figure out what your posting schedule is so that they can pick up that fresh content. The other thing you're doing is training your readers to come back. Your readers want to expect to know that every Friday or every Wednesday or every Monday and Wednesday they're going to get a new post from you. So be sure that you post consistently. It doesn't have to be every day, but have a consistent schedule. Okay, the next tip, don't have too many outbound links in your posts. If you've ever read a post where every other line there's a link either to something within the blog post, another blog post of the bloggers, or a link to an outside site, you have a great chance of losing your readers. And if you link to an outside site, you may find that your reader finds that site or that other blog posts so interesting they might not even come back to you. And another tip is that if you are sending people to an outside site, that means it's somewhere out in the internet that's not your blog, be sure it opens in a new window so your blog window is still there when they close that other outside site window. Hoping that makes sense to folks, but make sure that it's opened in a new window. And the next one is to respond to readers' comments. Responding makes readers feel valued. It makes them feel like they're part of the community. And I see blogs where people start to get comments, but they don't come back. They don't respond to the comments. Readers are not going to come back. They have taken the time to engage with you and your content, and they have said something to you. They want at least recognition of what they have said, and they want you to come back and respond and reply to them. And it's a great way to double your number of comments. If you're only getting 4 comments per post, guess what? If you respond to every single one, you all of a sudden have 8 comments, and you don't have that big goose egg, that big 0 in your comment section. People really do look when they come to a blog on how many comments there are, and if there's no comments, there's nothing going on, and some of them don't feel like staying. Okay, and my last tip quickly is cut the fat in your writing. Remove unnecessary words and sentences. You write a rough draft, go back and cut every word that doesn't add to the meaning of your post. Stephen King said that the road to hell is paved with adverbs, and he is so right about that. Words like very, adverbs that add no meaning to your posts. So, the last tip I have is to read your sentences out loud to see if they're too long. If you have to take another breath, another breath in the middle of a sentence, that's my gauge or measure that that sentence is too long, and you need to either cut it into 2 two shorter sentences or just cut it in some way. Okay.
All right, we're over to me for more content tips. If I can only teach you to do one thing different on your blog after this webinar, this is the one I want to teach you. I want to teach you how to write better headlines, because headlines on blog posts are all important. I see a lot of blog headlines like this: receiving end, pucker up, taskmaster. These headlines tell me nothing about what I could find out by reading them, and readers are not going to click on them to investigate and find out. Blog headlines need to include keywords or no one will discover your post. It's just that simple. Writing strong headlines is completely vital to your blog's success. And in the PDF report you're going to get at the end of this, when we email you with all our links, it'll link to my post, Why Writing Killer Headlines Will Change Your Life. And also you'll see a link to a great report from Psychotactics called Why Do Some Headlines Fail? Your headline should tell me, what are you writing about in this post, and who is it for? Who is it going to benefit? It's just, I can't say, I could talk for the whole 90 minutes just about this, but we're going to just look quickly at, if I can find them, Good Life Writer, to see what we mean about headlines that are not helping you. Improving the eggs to feed ratio. I mean, this is, we're here on Good Life Writer, not knowing that much about what your blog's about. I don't know who that is for. Meditation on a Bead. Is this a meditating blog? I'm not sure. The next one is about chickens. Maybe it's about farming, but I don't really know. And the header doesn't clue me in a lot either if I did come over here to look, because the tagline doesn't tell me any more about the blog. And there's a picture of a goat, and it seems to be about writing based on the headline and tagline. So these headlines are not helping. And I also wanted to look at my winning year, which I think is on my other deck here. Yeah, here we go. So 1 pound of fat gives us a hint what it might be about, but it could be so much better. This chi, obviously nothing's happening. Imagine. My take on 100-calorie snack packs, that's got some helpfulness. It's never the right time. These are like classic headlines that new bloggers write, and they don't help you get any readers. By contrast, I write things like how writers can earn more money. That's like a blog post that I write because I'm trying to attract writers who are looking to earn more money. You need both those keywords and a target action. What are you going to, what will I learn exactly about? The more sort of detail you can get into it, the more valid your headline is, and the more useful it is for search engines and for readers to pick up on. So then more generally, understand blog style. Blogs are not articles you slapped up on the internet. Blogs are really their own unique format. Paragraphs and sentences are short. Go and read Robert Bruce on Copy Blogger or Brian Clark, and you'll see that a lot of their paragraphs are one-line sentences. But blogs really do well with very short paragraphs and sentences. You've got a link or two to something else useful that makes your post a resource that unpacks more usefulness for our readers, and each post has that nice big photo at the top. And I wanted to look quickly at Mary Beth Braun. Let's see, here we go. And yeah, the sad thing on her blog is she has great photos, but looking at her blog homepage, they're all hidden. And so as a casual visitor, I would think her blog is very boring and non-graphical, and I wouldn't want to look at it. Whoops, oh, it doesn't like me on that one. Let's try this one. So you can see there's a big, beautiful photograph hiding here at the top of the story, which is nice. The one other blog style thing I'll say is this photo should be with text right on it. Not, the text shouldn't start till below it, because then I think, oh, it's just a picture. If I look above the fold here, you see I don't see any text, and then I'm going to move on. So nice big photo, good, but maybe move it over to the right and have some text starting here so that I'm already reading the post. And another, I'll give you a ninja trick about photos, is if the person is looking a particular direction, or the dog, you can see they're both pointing a little bit to the left here. I would put this photo on the right so that they're looking toward the content rather than away from it. And that's known as sight lines in design. If you have a sight line in a photo, make it point at your content. Stick to your topic. Blogging on multiple topics confuses readers and sends them away. And in my free call last week, I had someone that was a classic. Their tagline for their blog was like, I blog about food, travel, social life, you know, wine, restaurants. They listed like 8 things they blog about. If you have more than one thing you're dying to blog about, think about running multiple blog channels, even on the same page, but just so they each have a place. And if you are a writer looking to get paid blogging assignments, know that sticking to your niche makes a great audition piece, because it shows any company that you could blog for them because you understand how to stick to a topic. This is a pet peeve of mine. Watch the tone in which you are writing. This is something that a lot of people are sort of unconscious of, and you should bring it up to your conscious mind, because your tone is what you're telling people about who you are. You're irreverent, snarky, hip, businesslike, supportive, caring. The exercise I give people is try to think of 5 defining words for your tone and keep them somewhere by your computer and use them to help you stay consistent, because that consistent tone helps readers think they're getting to know you, and that it makes them feel comfortable that they can expect that same tone. So you don't want to be like using F words and things in one post, and then in the next post you're all business, and that sort of confuses people about who you are. And the most important thing you're telling people with your blog, underneath whatever advice you're giving in any particular post, is who you are and who you might be for them. So take a minute to think about consistency and do that exercise after the call. Another great way to start getting known with your blog and getting more readers and comments is to be a guest on other blogs and to invite other people to guest on your blog. It really kind of goes both ways. I've done both a lot. I've guested on Copyblogger and Word Right to Done. And guesting on more popular blogs can drive a lot of new traffic and readers, and some of whom might subscribe if you have a big fat subscription box that's easy to see. And when you ask people to guest on your blog, if they're readers, they become huge fans of the blog. I just find it's great community building. I see people who've guested on my blog in the past on Twitter, on Follow Friday, telling people to follow me all the time. And it also, from a reader perspective, it adds some variety and different voices and adds some interest to the blog. So I'm really in favor. And so we're back to this. If you don't know what readers want on your blog, ask them. Take a poll. Have a contest. Ask them to send you emails and privately tell you if they're shy. And you really will learn so much, and I guarantee you will change what you are posting after you poll your audience. And if you don't do this, you end up with a blog that often comes off like this. This is a wonderful video by my friend Derek Halpern. Enjoy here. This is how a lot of blogs seem to readers. That's my homie Derek, and no, don't do it again. Okay, once was enough. Stop that. Okay. Sorry. But you don't want your blog to come off that way. You want to be engaged with your readers, and that's why you want to talk to them and ask them questions. My final one is to vary your post types. Don't you know, if all of your posts start with how to this or 10 ways to do that or a diary of my day, it gets really boring really fast. There's a lot of different kinds of blog posts out there, and in the PDF you'll see a link to a great report on Blog Herald called the 18 types of blog posts that get the most comments. It's just a terrific guidebook to ways to vary this. It keeps your blog fresh and entertaining. You know, interview somebody every once in a while, or do a pro and con with somebody, have a debate, do a case study, do a long list-based post of 100 ways to do something. It keeps it fresh and entertaining, and then you can do some analysis after a while, see what of those are getting the most comments on your blog, and do more of those types of posts. It'll really help shape your content. And we're back to Q&A, and we're back to giving out some free stuff. I'm going to just look, and I see there's a couple questions stacking up. We'll get to them in a second, and feel free to put more questions into the queue right now while I am talking about a couple of people. I wanted to give a half-hour mini mentoring session of my own to Mary Beth Bulow. She asked a good question, I thought, about her blog, which you know, is the question I think that is ultimately, oh, I'm right on it, on a lot of people's minds, which is how can I better use this blog to tie into my sales funnel? Because for a lot of us,
Carol,
yeah.
Carol, I think you wanted Beth Bulow. We're mixing up Mary Beth.
Uh-oh, am I confused? I'm very sorry.
I think it was Beth Bulow.
I think you're right. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. My error. Let me find her blog. Here it is. Yes. And we've got that same dissonance there with Beth Bulow, and then the name of it's The Introvert Entrepreneur. But let me see if she's on the call and I can unmute her. All right, I'm unmuting you. If you have a speaker, Mary Beth, you can say hello if you have a mic. But she's on VoIP, so we'll see if we can talk live. But you can also type follow-up questions. But so a lot of people have this question, you know, okay, I'm blogging now, and she's got some great photos going on, by the way, on her blog, which look really nice. I almost think, if anything, they're too big. Because, see, once again, we have the problem where I can't see any text. So get the text running next to it. But so she does coaching. She gives workshops. And she wanted to know how can you better tie this all together? Well, one way is to put an ad for it in your sidebar. And there's a lot of different ways you can do this. Whoa, we've got a lot of different bars here. So if you streamline your bars so you've just got one sidebar, you can always put a banner ad if you're doing a special event, making a special offer. You can advertise on your own blog and let that just run in the side or at the bottom of posts if you really have something coming up. You can do the von Restorff effect, which you saw me doing with the red on my subscription sign-up. You could take one of these tabs and make it turn red instead of green, since red isn't a color you use very much. And that would drive a lot of traffic to look at that particular tab. I mean, there are many, many ways. Do more social media marketing, promoting, there's quite a few options that you can turn to. I'm not seeing a follow-up question for her, but I'll be in touch about that. And my other prize, which is a copy of my ebook, Make a Living Writing the 21st Century Guide, is going to go to Sally Ann Norelli, who asked another really classic question, which is, why do people not buy and not click through to my store on my blog? Oh, I'm going to find it. Here it is. So, and I think we partly answered this before, which is in part it's because it's too confusing. You asked, is something missing? But I don't believe things are missing. I believe it's a case of too many things. I also have to say this blogger format I don't think is very well suited for selling because it's got this strange upper bar with this share, report abuse, next blog. The last thing you want is someone going over to some next blog, create another blog, sign in. It's got all these weird messages across the top, and it sort of forms that 2 rows of tabs. Then down here we have another set of tabs. And then there's just so many offers. I think you've got to decide what you want people to do the most on your blog here. Do you want them to go over to your store on Etsy and buy things? Can they buy things directly from this platform? I'm not clear. Do you want them to be donating dolls for kids? Do you want us to shop you on Artfire or go to your Etsy store? There's just way too many options, and so people are doing nothing. Do you want us to, and then down here it says you also offer writing help. So that's like a whole nother place, because the whole rest of the blog's about design. Do you want us to find you on Facebook and you're selling over there? So think about one place you want to drive it. You might do a sales tab. You don't really have a store tab on here that you could also von Restorff in red or something so that it's jumps out of your design. So those are some thoughts off the top of my head. I don't know, Judy, if you have any other thoughts on that one.
Yeah, I just think the basic thing is just way too much clutter. I think that would solve a lot of problems for Sally Ann if she could really cut down the options and the choices she's giving people.
All right, I'm looking quickly here at some more questions. Uh-oh, now Madeline got, yeah, Madeline wanted to ask a question about age myths. Yeah, let me just circle back here and unmute you again. All right, you're on, Madeline.
Okay, hi, Carol.
Hi, you're a little loud.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're very loud. Turn down.
Okay.
Better. Yeah, what can we help you with?
Well, the comments I was getting were so fundamental, it's almost like pick another topic, pick another name, and so on. Part of my thinking in going into this is there is a lot of anxiety and concern about aging, but there's good news, and that's part of what I want to do is share the good news. The other thing is that the demographic between 60 or 65 or people who will soon be in that age and older is huge. Biggest selling magazine in the country is the AARP magazine. So there's an audience there, and people are interested in some of these things. So where do I go with all that, those mixed, the pros and the cons of what I'm doing?
Judy, did you want to
do we
talk
have
about that?
her blog called up?
Oh, sure. Let me put it back up.
That would help.
Hang on 1 second. Here we go.
Okay. So it's really what you're really trying to do, Madeline, is put a positive spin on growing older and giving people resources of how they can stay healthier. Tell me, like in one word, what your blog is about.
It's about aging is a cycle of life with a lot of positive things. It's not what you've probably heard over and over, that you go into this steep decline, your brain cells die off, and then you don't make any more. You lose your health, you lose everything. You can't have sex anymore. All these negative things, which are fundamentally not true, or not entirely true. I mean, yeah, there's some change, but. So it's meant to celebrate people getting old and keep working, and it's meant to share experiences, information on health, information on fitness, and all sorts of, and you can see some of those things in the sidebar about talking about Alzheimer's. Okay, where are we with that? That sort of thing.
Are these things on the sidebars, are these actual posts of yours, or are these like resources?
Those are posts.
Okay, okay. Who is, do you have subscribers right now? Do you have any subscribers?
Yes.
How many?
Not many.
Okay. I don't know. Carol, do you think part of it is finding out who our audience is and finding ways to reach them?
I don't know. I wonder if, the URL and title on this could use revamping to get like positive aging or something into it to just get it across.
Well,
that's sort of my reaction.
You know who suggested this title, because I raised this question a year or so ago, was Leo Babaudo himself. I mean, he said maybe a good title would be Age Myth, see if it's still available, and I did.
Well, I think Leo's super, that I think Leo's super awesome. But the question you have to ask yourself is, you've tried it now, and is it working for you? And if it's not working for you, maybe it's time to experiment with some other things. But, you might also get more spin from writing stronger headlines and promoting them in social media more. There's a lot of strategies to take to get it out there. I want to move on because questions are kind of stacking up, and time is short, and we have a lot of people, but I'm glad we were able to get you on live, Madeline.
Thanks.
Elaine says, I highlight headings in red. Should I ditch the red? I really would, because I think that's another one of those colors that people think is a clickable link. And also, red's really special, and you might want to save that for special offers or tabs you want to draw attention to. Stephanie asked, you talk about not having too many tabs. How do you feel about sub-tabs underneath the tabs? No, yeah, that's a problem as well. You can fight this a couple of ways that I know. Maybe Judy has some more suggestions. One is you can create a resource sidebar in your sidebar that has landing pages with links to a lot of content on a theme. That's one way to get some topics down out of the top tabs. And another is to create coding where your tab just says webinars, and maybe there are 6 webinars in there, and at the top of that page, when you go in it, there's quick links to each of those that jump you down the page. So you can make your pages kind of unfold and hold a lot of content without going to pages and pages and pages. I think in general we think a lot of subpages not so good. Judy, did you want to have any other tricks on that?
I'm not a fan of subpages at all. The drop-down menus underneath the major navigation bar, I just am not. Carol, Beth was asking on Twitter, how does she ask a question?
I sent her a response.
Okay.
I sent her a response that we were on the question bar. But then Mary Beth had asked, what's a good color for a header in a blog? And that's the sort of how long is a piece of string answer. The answer for me is autumn colors, because I'm in autumn and I feel happy, and I think they're welcoming and calming because that's me, and it's about the environment I'm creating for writers. And you really have to think about who your audience is and who you are and what you think would draw them in. Just don't use too many colors would be my one comment. Last week I had someone where their entire background was a bright green, their headlines were purple, their subheads were pink. I'm not kidding. So, just go easy on the use of color, and, not all blue is my personal tip.
And I also think that don't make your blog background color so overpowering that your name of your title of your blog and your tagline absolutely get lost. So really pay attention to making that title and tagline just pop when you consider the color of your header.
And yeah, actually one thing we didn't get to in design that I meant to is both Claire's Closet and the College Diary site have the thing in Blogger where your background is visible underneath your blog posts, and that's very distracting, and really I really hate that. See if you can get it to plain white under your text. It's very sort of unprofessional and distracting looking. I had one person who signed up late and was having trouble getting me her URL, and we're going to just sort of take a quick look right now and give her a really quick mini look. Let's see if we can do this without Derek's blog playing and get that video again. But we're going to go to Frugal Mommy Talks. I see what was missing. We're just going to take a quick look. This is Stephanie. She won a free ticket to this yesterday by promoting this event on Twitter. So here it is. It's on Weebly. I don't even know this platform. It looks like a lot of crazy stuff going on in a big fat sidebar. Let's see, your blog is under a tab here. Stephanie, are you, can I unmute you and have you talk? I don't know if you have a mic. I'll try it. Stephanie, you there? If you are, feel free to ask us any specific questions. But here you are. Stephanie, are you there? In your questions, you say, hello. You say, I have those on my blog, and it just looks strange to me. I don't know what those are. Maybe you can answer. I'll leave that up for a sec. And I think we're open for more questions. If there's anyone else whose blog has not been seen at all on the presentation, please tell me so we can bring it up. Mary Beth says, what's a good font? I think you're looking at one right now. In general, they're largish. 13, 14 point type is nice, and they're what they're called sans serif, not ornamented, you know, Arial type of fonts tend to read the best online. Oh, Stephanie was asking about sub-tabs. Oh, you have the sub-tabs. Yeah, we're not fans. See if you can get it onto one page or put it in a sidebar with you know, like here I see you have frugal tips. Maybe that would make a nice little sidebar to do that might attract people. See what else people are saying. I'm here. Oh yeah, Mrs. McCraw, let's go to this one. This is one more that was a late registrant and we didn't get you up on the bar. Here we go. So we're looking at you, Deborah. Let me see if I can unmute you and hear your question, if you are able. If you've got a mic, you can talk now. Deborah?
Hello.
Hi. So what can we tell you about your blog?
Well, one thing that I struggle with, I started my blog when I started doing kind of a healthy living challenge. It was a 28-day challenge. And since the challenge is over, I struggle with having regular content. I still try to talk about, you know, produce and recipes and stuff, but I guess I'm just kind of wondering where to go next.
You're on WordPress, right?
Yes.
The thing you should do next is download WordPress Editorial Calendar plugin. And it will give you your blog in the form of a planning calendar. And then you can start looking at how often you want to post and sitting down and planning what you're going to write about. It will just totally change your life. It's so much easier to realize, oh, you know, oh, it's almost St. Patrick's Day. Before that post, I could write something about green food. Or it's so helpful. I never am stuck for an idea. I'm planned weeks ahead. And I used to have it just like all scribbled in a Word document in a mess. And it was very hard for me to tease out, like, what should I write exactly now? So I highly recommend that. RP Roseanne is saying, I'm very confused. Write back and tell me what's confusing you so I can help.
I would say on the Mrs. McCraw also, if you come up with your major categories, that helps greatly to find topics within them. If you know the basic things you're writing about, have your categories ready, and then do both evergreen posts, which are posts that are always, they're not time sensitive and they will always apply and never go out of style, and then look at that calendar, as Carol said, and pick up some time sensitive posts that might be around holidays or whatever you can plug in that's going on at a certain time of year that has to do with healthy living and healthy eating, and once you start brainstorming and once you have your categories, you will find that lots and lots of post topic ideas will come to you naturally.
And the other thing is 2 words, Google Alerts. If you really aren't getting ideas about your topic, set up a Google alert on some keywords about what you write about, and you'll get 20 articles a day being written in your topic. It gives you great things to link to and great ideas about what you want to talk about. Maybe you disagree violently with one of those. You want to riff on it and link to them and say, oh, I think their thoughts about this were atrocious. you'll never be out of ideas. And if you need more ideas for posts, I did a post on Copyblogger called like 50 ways to get post ideas that you can look up, and you'll be all set after that. Lauren asks, what is the best tone for your about page? And there's multiple schools of thought on that, but I think the one I'm going with, and I used to have mine in second person, is to talk in first person. Everyone knows it's you writing it, and it's weird if you write, she won a lot of awards. You know, say, hi, thanks for coming to my blog. Here's who I am. This is why I started this blog.
And if you are not a corporate person, if you are a solopreneur and a one-person business or a one-person blogger, you need to get your personality. I can't stress this strongly enough. You need to get your personality, even the quirky parts of your personality. Write a fun about page if you go to catseyewriter.com/about and take a look at my about page. It gives a real sense of not only what the blog's about, but what I'm about as a person. Because people they have an investment in you. When they start reading your posts, they want to know who you really are. So I would encourage you, you don't spill the beans and all the closets in your family and all the ghosts and things like that, but you give them enough of a sense of who you are from your heart that they really feel like they know you, and then they're going to want to read even more of your blog posts. So I would like to encourage people not to be afraid to share their real, authentic self.
We are really coming up on our time. I'm going to just quickly answer a couple more questions, and then we got to give you our special offers before we go. People are asking more about tags. When you fill out a blog post, you should have a tag area that you fill in keywords about. And I think we like to see maybe 6 or 8 of those predominating to help guide people. Mary Beth asked if the main photo should illustrate the first main point you're conveying. Well, first off, blog posts should only have one main point. If you got another point to make, split it off into another blog post. They really don't do well sort of trying to make multiple tangents work. I try and make my photo relate in some way. Sometimes it's sort of in a wry or tangential way where you really have to read the post to sort of get the photo totally. I think everyone there's different theories about how to use the photos. Having faces and people in them are really awesome.
And sometimes you're going for a concept and not necessarily exactly the topic of your blog post, but it's something that will catch the eye. They read the post, then they relate the photo to it. So don't be afraid to get creative with your photos.
So we're going to make you some offers, and I want to give away a free ticket to my next webinar, which is Secrets of a Money-Making Blog. Now that you've learned how to make it look good and write a post that will make people come, how to turn that all into an earning machine. I'm doing it with Ann Wayman of About Freelance Writing, who's been earning from her blog for many years. And I'm going to give it to the person who left the first comment on here that got comments rolling, which is Mary Lee Owanahara, who was asking one of our popular topics and tags and categories questions. So I'll be contacting you about your free ticket. And everyone else, I'd like to make you the biggest discount offer we make in the whole promotion for this blog. No one else will get this deal. 25% off. If you want to come to the next one, it's a 1-hour, $36 blog where we will talk about every possible human way that you can make money off of a blog and ways to drive your marketing to get the audience there so you can sell them things. And the link for how to get that discount will be in our follow-up email to you with the link to the report and the link to view this webinar again and everything else you need. I've got a couple quick special offers. You can sign up for a half-hour mini mentoring session with me for only $50. I only offer that to people who participated in my webinars. Otherwise, you've got to do my full mentoring program. And anyone who wants to buy anything else from me on my website, Make a Living Writing, use the code $5 off and get a $5 discount. Just thanks for coming. And Judy has a couple special offers.
Okay, my special offer, I have a partner business called SavvyWordPress.com. It's a 25% off a subscription, a full year subscription. SavvyWordPress.com is an online membership community where you get all kinds of help in managing and improving your blogs, from video tutorials to all the way to a private member forum where you can get your questions answered in a nice, safe environment that only includes members. It's good for 48 hours, 25% off. It's a $99 value for the whole year. You can get it for $74.99. And look for that URL in the follow-up email we send to you if you'd like to have the link to go to that, or even to find out more about what Savvy WordPress is all about.
And this is the end of our webinar. This has been fantastic. I really appreciate everyone, being willing to share and have their blogs critiqued. And if you will get a survey, I think, emailed out to you right after this, or it'll appear right on the screen. Please fill it out. We try and follow up on those. We may answer on our blogs. God, I thought I had that turned off. And watch your email for important links to view the presentation, get the PDF, and all the links to get these special deals. Thanks for coming, everyone. This has been just really great.
Thank you so much.